Salutations, ladies and gentlemen, the Knife Raven here, back again with another video. And in today's video, following up with the last upload I did, we'll be taking a look at another Swiss Army knife. This is one of the more popular models, and one of the, in my opinion, very best first Victorinox knives to buy, and that is the Recruit. Now, the Recruit is a very, very interesting little knife, and it has a fair bit of utility, despite being rather small. This is part of Victorinox 84mm line, which is bigger, of course, than the keychain-sized classics, but a little bit smaller than the regular 91mm. And in this case, we have the Tinker. So it's a very interesting little knife that is quite useful, despite its size, and it has a decent bit of utility. So, starting with the highlight being the main blade, we of course have a mirror polished stainless steel Spearpoint here. Has a nice finish, fairly reflective. You have the stamp of Victorinox Swiss made stainless and Officer Suisse. So this is within the realm of a Swiss officer's knife. The blade itself is decently sized. The cutting edge is UK legal. I'll give you a measurement now. The knife overall is going to be sitting in at just a little under 5 3/4 inches open. The blade is 2.5 with a cutting edge of just around 2 1/4. So very much UK legal, and despite its size, you can get a very nice 4-finger grip on this. My hands aren't the largest, but at the same time, they aren't tiny, so this is a comfortable knife in the hand. It's got a fair bit to hold on to, overall making for quite the good knife. The spring has a nice tension to it, and smacks shut with some authority. It's also very well lined up, as always. Next up, we of course have the secondary pen blade, which is just a scaled down Spearpoint. This is nice for whittling, wood carving, and the like, and also smaller tasks that you may not need the full-sized blade for. There's no stamping on this blade, but it has the same finish and steel, of course. At the front, we have your combination tool of a can opener and a flathead screwdriver. This is the small flathead, and of course the can opener could also double as a bottle opener. Then we have the final attachment, which is a more specific bottle opener. You can see it has the tooth here. Of course, this is also a larger flathead and a wire stripper. Note this attachment also has a half stop, which gives it a fair bit of authority. As always, we have the Victorinox Toothpick and Tweezers. And of course, the last staple is the ring to put it on a lanyard, or if you're insane enough, on a keychain. So this is a very simple Victorinox knife. It has only one side of tools, whereas with some of the other knives you have tools on both sides of the knife. So this makes for a much cleaner look in my eyes, and it still manages to be very, very thin despite being double stacked. Again, you have the 2 springs at the back, which are nicely polished. You have a spacer between the 2 and your liners. The handles are of course the typical Celador material that Victorinox uses, but you can also get, aside from the traditional red, you can get it in black, I believe, and I don't know if there are any other limited edition colors, but black and red are the two typical ones you can expect. And of course you have the Victorinox logo, or shield, in the center. So the fit and finish is expectedly immaculate. There's nothing to complain about on this. All the blades are sturdy. There's no play in any of them. There's no blade wrap at all. I believe that's due to there being stop pins on the interior, which prevent the edge from getting damaged. But everything lines up beautifully, and just overall, the quality is what you would expect from a typical Swiss Army knife. To me, the thing that makes this knife shine through above many others is the fact that it is very affordable. I got this for, I believe, around 20-25 Canadian dollars, but if you're lucky, you can find it probably closer to the 20 end. 25 to 30 is probably more typical now, as this was purchased a couple years ago, and naturally, prices have gone up. But regardless, even for $30 or less, this is still a very, very nice knife. It has a fair bit of utility in it, and can really hold its own against any typical pocket knife, which is very much its main purpose, but being a multi-tool, of course, you have the extra added value involved. Again, I'd compare it in size to, say, here's a Barlow knife of a drastically different price range. You can see that in terms of overall size, they are quite similar, but the Barlow doesn't feature any other tools besides the blade, and so therefore, if you want to argue, this would be the better choice in terms of utility, despite, in my personal opinion, this being certainly the nicer looking of the two. But all in all, the Victorinox Recruit is an incredibly simple knife. They don't put anything on it that isn't really needed. It uses its space well. Nothing feels out of place or unnecessary. And I could see perhaps being a bit more critical if there were tools on the reverse side as well. But considering that it's just one side and you have the tools just on the one half of the knife, it makes for a very clean profile in the pocket and just a nice knife to carry. So the Recruit, in my opinion, is the perfect Swiss Army knife to introduce someone to the brand. Say you have a son, a nephew, younger brother, a friend, you want to introduce them to perhaps an appreciation of knives. I think this would be an excellent first knife to give in that context. As again, everything included has a use. Perhaps the can opener might not be used as frequently as the blades, but it still feels very traditionally Victorinox, and I think that this model reflects well on the brand as a whole. So, you can't go wrong with this. The knife is as it is. There isn't any extra nonsense that wastes time, space, or money. So in my eyes, this is an excellent little knife. Would it be my #1 choice for Victorinox? Probably not, but that's because I, again, already showcased my favorite Victorinox last week. But in terms of an excellent buy for someone who may not yet have a knife, or in particular a Swiss Army knife, I think that the Recruit is an easy 10 out of 10. So, thank you very much for watching. This has been the Victorinox Recruit, and this is the Knife Raven, as always, signing off. Goodbye.